So I recently did a Vipassana meditation retreat. And in case you don't know what that is, that's where you go off and you meditate for 10 days in a row. You're sitting in an uncomfortable position for 10 days in a row. They wake you up with a gong at 4 in the morning. Nobody's allowed to speak. You have to be on an all vegetarian diet, which I don't really like that part as much. But you're not allowed to speak. You're meditating for 10 days in a row. You're not even allowed to make gestures with other people. And what this does is your mind goes into a deeply, deeply silent state. The demons are forced out of your mind. The thought demons, the addictions, the cravings, whatever else that you're used to, the comforts are all eradicated from your mind because you're forced into silence, and you're forced into that position of silence in meditation for hours and hours and hours throughout the day. You're sitting there all day, 10, 12 hours a day, all day. So this is what Vipassana meditation was like. And when you're that silent and you're that still and you're meditating all day, what you notice is that you catch the patterns of your brain. And I'd urge anybody to actually sign up for Vipassana meditation, because I think out of all the seminars and all the things I've done, that's one of the top 3 most powerful experiences you could ever have, to just sit there with yourself. Just think about how often you actually are forced to sit there with yourself. Not very often. As soon as you get bored and line at Starbucks, you pull out your phone and you take in more stimulus. As soon as you get a little bit bored, you crave a little bit of sugar, you eat some sugar. As soon as you're a little bit bored, you need more stimulus. You need to talk to somebody on the phone or text somebody. So it's this constant input of constant barrage of stimulus in other people's minds entering your own mind. But when you're completely still, you're able to realize something very funny and kind of simple, which is that all this chaos of your mind that you have walking around throughout the day, thinking about food, thinking about biological drives, thinking about sleep, thinking about comfort, thinking about other people, whatever it is, when you're in Vipassana meditation, all this cloud of thoughts, all this chaos gets slowly distilled down to the main couple things that you're looking at that are running in your mind. The main couple things that have hijacked your default operating system of your thinking mind. And you're able to see that for what it is. You're forced to confront it because you're just sitting down for 10 hours a day. You're forced to confront your thinking mind. And what you realize is that it's not that you think of 1,000 million different things a day. It's more like those 1,000 different million things a day, your mind being pulled around in all these chaotic directions, really emulated from a couple core patterns that you're running. And that was my personal experience in Vipassana, was that my mind would loop really all what I thought was my mind thinking throughout the day on all these different topics really stemmed from 2 core different thought patterns. The first core thought pattern was that I kept thinking about other people. That's it. My mind, when bored, when no stimulation is there, my mind is yearning for other people. This person's gonna do this at work. This person's probably gonna mess this thing up. My mom said this when I was a kid. My daddy said this when I was a kid. My teacher said this when I was younger. Thoughts of the past, thoughts of the present. I wonder what the meditation guru at the front is thinking. Does he even think? How long has he been meditating for? Thoughts of the future. This work situation in regards to other people. I bet when I see this family member, this person's gonna say this. Then I'm gonna say this back. Then they're gonna say this back. Then I'm gonna say this back. Then they're gonna say this back. Then I'm gonna say this back. Then they're gonna say this back. And it just keeps looping and looping and looping and looping. So the core of it, though, what I identified is it's other people. Is what I'm thinking about. That is the demon that is running my brain. The second demon that I was forced to confront was endless thoughts of the future when it came to work. Then I'm gonna get this done. Then I'm gonna buy this piece of gear. Then I have to train this person on this. Then I'm eventually gonna get into deals of this kind. Then, this is gonna happen. Then this is gonna happen. But remember, at the end of the day, man plans, God laughs. Man plans, God laughs. All that time I spent thinking, I could have been doing something. Well, not really in the meditation hall, I could have been. But like outside in the real world, all that time spent thinking, I can't control anything with my thoughts. So me just thinking of other people and me thinking about the future when it comes to work is utterly useless. It means nothing. What I should be doing is instead, and I'm glad that I identified those 2 negative thought patterns, is I should just simply get out of my head and get to work on a plan and course correct that plan, course correct my work as I get new information and as I make mistakes and as I get certain wins, right? That's the real path forward, not to think about it and endlessly loop on those things. But what I want to ask you is that you're probably thinking about a bunch of different things throughout the day. What are the core root thought patterns that all these thoughts stem from? For me, it was thoughts of other people in the future. I thought I was thinking about 10,000 things. it really stemmed from those two things. When you go to a place like Vipassana and when you meditate, you're able to identify the core. You're able to identify and gain awareness and gain insight and gain wisdom into the default settings of your brain and see what it's actually doing to you. So I'd urge you to sign up for Vipassana or meditate, but outside of that, if you're not going to, ask yourself, what is my mind actually doing to me throughout the day? Where is my mind wasting time and energy and focus onto things that I can't exactly control, because it's just my mind running in a loop, the same default loop that would just be spinning like a bicycle tire again and again and again and again. How can I actually stop the bicycle tire and get down to work of actually riding the bicycle? Meaning, how can I stop the default patterns of my brain and just get into a flow state by taking action? So much action that it shuts off my thinking mind. So that's what I'll leave you guys off with. Those are some of my insights from Vipassana. I'd urge you to sign up. Again, you can sign up at www.dhamma.org. I'll even put a link in here. And I have no affiliation with them. They're nonprofits, actually free. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.